So please join me in thanking you. Coming here tonight, I didn't know what to expect, and looking out this room, I am so excited about 2010. You know, the fact that you look around this room and we have lots of diversity, we have people from every ethnic background, from every age group excited about this race. And I will tell you, every day we take a fight against the Republicans, and our message to them every day is the fact that Democrats are the party of solutions and ideas. They are the party of no. And when you look at the individuals behind us, and really it's all you need to do is look at these individuals to know the depth that this party brings to leadership in New Mexico. Challenging times calls for new leadership. It calls for proven leadership. We have behind us senators who have fought for values that are important to New Mexicans on an annual basis. Important to Democrats, important to New Mexicans. We have a representative and a mayor who is led at the local level and at the House.
I'm Representative Joe Campos, and I'm running for Lieutenant Governor. And first of all, I'd like to thank you, the Bernalillo Democrats, very much for coming out here and being so enthusiastic about this one campaign. Because I know we don't have any governor candidates, we don't have congressional candidates, and we don't have senatorial candidates that are going to be challenged this election. It's a bunch of lieutenant governors. But first of all, thank you, Anna, thank you, Pamela, Victor, for organizing this event, because it gives us a true opportunity to talk about the challenges that we have here in the state of New Mexico. If we're looking at the economy, education, healthcare, we're looking at ethic issues. And yes, I hope we also talk about tonight the upcoming session. You know what? This can be a challenge for the state of New Mexico, and we all know this. And in fact, this coming session can cripple the state of New Mexico for the next 2 decades. But truly, this can be New Mexico's epiphany, our epiphany, to really create a good, strong, transparent, accountable government that will create the jobs of tomorrow, that will create an education that we all can be very proud of, but most of all, it'll create a healthcare that is quality, is accessible, and affordable. That's what this election is all about. We need to make sure that we have a candidate that has experience. And that is one thing I have above all candidates here. I've been a mayor, I've been a county commissioner, I've been a state representative, I've been a businessman for 24 years, and been able to bring all these resources and assets to make a common good for a lot of people, not just in my own community, but through my whole district. And I've led in renewable energy to create a green tomorrow. These are the jobs we need to create, no longer for the state of New Mexico to be the second poorest in the nation. We need to be the wealthiest. If you want the health care, if you want good education, if you want to make sure we open those gates of opportunity, it starts with green energy. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Mr. Campos.
Thank you very much. Health care, as we all know, is very critical just to have a good quality of life. In fact, I would be remiss if I wouldn't recognize my wife, who is a hospital administrator, and she would kill me if I wouldn't say that I would be supporting healthcare. My wife, Christina Campos. And then also my daughter, who's a neonatal nurse, right in the center, if you could just please wave. They are very involved in really providing good quality healthcare, affordable, and accessibility to that healthcare. Those of us, you know, I've been in business for 24 years, and you know, being in business is not always a pretty piece of pie. When my first 2 children were born, they were born with midwives. We did not have health care. We were always taking a chance every year. But I was very fortunate with my 3rd child, who was my son. He had some difficulties when he was born. And if we didn't have health care at that time, it would have cost us close to $38,000. He was in intensive care for 2 weeks. Quite a difference. It's a roll of the dice for those of us who did not have care there and do and don't. And I am a perfect example of also good health care. Just 2 years ago, I had a disc removed in my back. I was pretty much a cripple. Good health care is able to help people become productive citizens in our community. And it's just not something that is a privilege. It has to be a right. And when we talk about the Health Security Act, when Mary was putting these ideas together 5, 6 years ago, I was one of the legislators that sat down with her on how we can get this accomplished. What are the ideas, the goals to get everybody covered? And yes, I was one of the few that voted for it in business and industry last year. I do support healthcare for everyone, because again, it's not a privilege, it's a right. Thank you.
Mr. Campos.
Does everybody turn it off whenever they get that? Okay. I think the issue that we're talking about is obviously the 03 tax cuts. And that's why our state of New Mexico is having a very serious issue with the budget that we do have right now. And back in 03, we did give tax cuts to the higher income, the middle class. And those were, when this bill was going through, the House of Representatives did vote to put automatic triggers onto that bill, which meant that if the economy was ever to decline, it would automatically trigger those away, and we would be back at where the tax cuts, where the taxes were in 03. But the Senate didn't stand up with the House, and they turned off our triggers, and that bill was passed. And now that we don't have all the gas and oil reserves that we had back in 03, 04, 05, and 06, now we find ourselves in a serious issue that what are we going to do? In fact, it was the day after the special session. We had a Democratic pancake breakfast down on Central. And that day after the special session, I was asked, what would you do in the upcoming session to help balance this budget? And it was direct. We need to put that 03 tax, get rid of it, but not the whole thing. The tax cuts for the middle class, I would keep, because I got to keep our middle class spending money. But we must return the tax cuts that we gave to the wealthy from a single filer of 100 and 150 for dual filing. We must return back to the state of New Mexico. Look, we've given them a tax cut for 6 years. I would ask, we need you back now. We need to bring you back now. It's a simple proposal. We need to create a progressive tax system. That's what the House of Representatives stood for 6, 8, oh my God, it's already been 7 years. 7 years ago, and it's something we need to return. Thank you very much.
How would you describe your own perception of your shared political understandings with Diane Dennish, and how would you describe your differences?
Very good question. Let's see. Well, let's start first of all with the question of electing Diane Dennish as our next governor in the state of New Mexico, and how I would be able to help her. First issue is one, to get elected, and that's electability. When we start looking at the lieutenant governor that will be able to complement Diane Dennish, we need to look at who has run in a competitive district. I'm the only candidate that has run in a 51% Democratic district, and if anyone standing up here, I'm the only one that has carried the Democratic platform in such a contested district. The issue is, who's going to be able to help Diane? In fact, when you look at my district, 3 of my most populated counties voted for George Bush and John McCain. I was the #2 target by the Republican Party last year and the petroleum industry, and won by 19%. This is, I bring to the table, one, electability, experience. One that has also worked with Diane on regional housing projects. In fact, we helped write that bill to create affordable housing throughout the state of New Mexico. We've also worked with Diane on education, early childhood programs. These are programs that are near and dear to our hearts. And also to create an economic opportunity for tomorrow, working the renewable industry. I was a sponsor of RETA, the Renewable Energy Transmission Authority, because without transmission, we are not going to create the jobs of tomorrow in renewable energy. We're going to be able to do new transmission throughout the state of New Mexico and export this power through Arizona and onto California, creating a multi-billion-dollar opportunity to bring good-paying jobs to our kids and for us in New Mexico. We are exporting 58% of our college graduates today, and this is unacceptable. We need to create a new economy, a new revolutionary economy, and it's going to be green. And that's where Diane and I will work to move New Mexico forward and create a better tomorrow for the common good.